Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today, we're going to be talking about Ultimate Gohan. If you guys haven't been to any of my master classes before on how to master a character, then don't forget to subscribe and like, and also check out the playlist down below in the description if you guys have not seen them before. All right. Uh, Today, we're going to be showcasing some clips, how to utilize Gohan here, and how his skills actually work, and how to best utilize his skills. And let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, he is a kind of like, it says he's got a lot of resistance, says he's got a lot of like energy resistance, strike resistance. I don't see it. He's probably one of the more squishier characters, hence why a lot of people play him differently from what I've seen on release. But it's totally understandable. A lot of people don't understand how to use technical characters sometimes, like hit, go tanks and stuff, not knowing that these guys are going to be absolute punching bags by themselves. But this Gohan actually has ways to utilize and deal with those types of threats. So let's go ahead and deal with it. First things first, let's talk about his passive and how it works. His passive is the ability to instantly trigger a stagger whenever you actually do his stacks of buildup. So whenever he actually hits two moves that stagger the enemy or move the enemy in any way, shape, or form, and this counts as any of his moves, so it could be his Jack Blast, could be his Rolling Hammer, could be his Power Unleashed, could be his Mach Break. Now, any of these moves could trigger this, and it's also multiple, you could trigger it multiple times with no cooldown. So that's what makes this a very, very unique skill. Now, is this going to be what you're going to be using a lot? Yes, because you're going to be wanting to get this triggered as many times as possible, because it also does strike defense down and energy defense down, which is absolutely crazy. So let's talk about his rush attack. It actually becomes a powered up rush attack only whenever you want to trigger your You Can't Win passive. You Can't Win is only is triggerable two ways. One, you land a third skill, and it triggers for the it pretty much is the triggering skill, which it shows here. And after that, you land it with a rush skill. If you can land it with a rush skill, or you can land it with a skill in general. So this is how I kind of like to save my skills, is because the way that I actually played them was I used my Jack Blast into a Rolling Hammer, into using a M1, which I like to call an M1, but it's a rush attack. And this will trigger the effect. Then you can literally move them in any direction that you want. And this is where we're going to start talking about some of these skills here. I really want to talk about the skills in conjunction. So Jackhammer and the way that it works is actually pretty interesting. You can enter and attack an enemy up close, and this will do extra damage from a distance. And then you could also do a energy blast after, which will push the enemies away. Keep in mind, this is actually the one skill I don't want you guys to worry about as often in terms of leveling up. In terms of leveling up, I do not want you guys to worry about this skill first. The reason why is because, yes, this skill is very, very useful in the early game. But if you guys do not have a leveled up Rolling Hammer or leveled up Powers Unleashed, then you're really going to struggle to actually hit what comes with the Jack Blast. Because with Jack Blast, you use the first and then the second pop. So there's two pops with the Jack Blast. You use the punch, and then you use the blast. You can mess this up by actually triggering the blast, pushing the enemies away from you to the point where you don't have enough distance to even deal with Rolling Hammer. Unless you want to play defensive, then you could use the Jack Blast to play defensively. This also does movement speed down. You could also jump behind them and actually push it into their enemies, but we'll talk more whenever we talk about the build and more ways to use this in total. Rolling Hammer is sick. So it actually is very, very dope. You jump onto the enemy and you knock them behind you. It's great. It also is very, very usable with the You Can't Win passive, because there's two ways you could trigger it. And this is what's so crazy. So listen very carefully. There's two ways you could trigger it, and it has two effects. One of the effects is that whenever you actually hit them with the Rolling Hammer, you will be able to knock them back. But let's say you already are about to trigger a passive You Can't Win. You can knock them back, and if you knock them back into another enemy, it counts as a stagger on the enemy. This is crazy. It also works against walls too, so if you guys are fans of the Vegeta wall flick, then Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 wall flick, this is a great way to deal with that too. Power Unleashed. Now, the way that Power Unleashed works is that this allows you to create a shockwave and scare your opponents away, causing them to flee. Adding stacks of, you can't win, by the way, just adds 1 stack. And this is really, really dope that you can also pop it and increase the cooldowns. Decrease the cooldown and instantly be able to pop an extra move on top of everything that you already have done before. So let's say you wanted to waste your Jack Blast, then you waste your Rolling Hammer. All of a sudden you put Power Unleashed, you get an extra boost, and now you're able to pop 1 extra skill for free, and also reduces the skill cooldown of all your skills. It's really broken. It is just very, very sick the way that it works. It's also a great way to disperse enemies, and this Gohan is going to need to disperse enemies. The reason this Gohan struggles with enemies in general is because of his very much not tankiness, and his squishiness really leaves him vulnerable to a lot of enemies' attacks. Also, he doesn't do a lot of damage, and I want to talk about that with Mach Break right at the end here, and the way that Mach Break works. Mach Break is a triggerable move that you're able to launch into a direction, pummel the enemy, moving at high speed for a little bit, and then release a shockwave, which is pretty cool. And it's a great way to actually kill an entire team if you wanted to. It is actually very broken and allows you to do something as crazy as that. Also applies a stack of Flee. So you're able to actually get a free combo off because they're not able to do anything. Think of it as a true combo with Rolling Hammer, Jack Blast, Power Unleashed. You could pop any of these moves, and they can't do anything about it. Now, the cool part about this, right, is that you're able to kill an entire team, steal bosses, stuff like that. But let's talk about how you kind of have to deal with using Gohan. Now, he's not very strong. He actually doesn't do a lot of damage. Think of him like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in terms of damage. He has a very, very decent kit, which allows him to actually perform a playmaker style of strategy, which means you're able to literally set up multiple kills or set up multiple attacks for your allies in order to take advantage of the enemies. You also could end up messing up your allies' attacks in the process too. Say Bojack set up his ability, then you accidentally kick them out of his ability. Now he can't profit off of that ability at all. So you do need to pick and choose when you actually strike, use your fights and stuff like that, because you could actually really ruin yourself and not be able to do a lot of work in the game. So if you do want to utilize Gohan the best, you do need to play make and make sure that you set up for your teammates to do all the damage, because Gohan does struggle against Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. He struggles against Cooler. He struggles against all the tanks. He cannot kill them by himself. He could possibly, if the tank is trash, but if the tanks actually use their abilities that allow them to use their passives, or Vegeta gets his armor back with his skills, or he just pops a freaking, Gohan doesn't do enough damage. But I will talk about how you can do enough damage in a pinch, and that is going to be Mach Break. Mach Break is going to be able to allow you to kill these tanks. But besides that, not much can do with Jack Blast, Rolling Hammer, Power Unleashed. You could bully them a little bit using You Can't Win, and triggering You Can't Win is going to be the best way to actually utilize your entire kit, because the ability to put strike down defense and energy down defense is allowing you to do a lot of more damage as well, just like Gohan, Kid Gohan. But this guy does rely on teammates in order to seal the deal with a lot of characters in this game. Also, let's say you're dealing something like your Mach Break. Very dope attack, very strong ability, but you're vulnerable to Ki Blasts. So you guys need to be careful with not getting hit by Ki Blasts. You will be absolutely destroyed by Ki Blasts, and also by any type of energy damage, such as like Topo's ultimate or anything like that. It's just not going to be enough defense-wise to deal with it. Let's go into the build. Now, for Gohan in general, and I'm just going to go ahead and talk about this in general, Gohan is going to be able to do a lot with his kit, but there is one particular build that actually works perfect with Gohan, and let's talk about it. I would not rely on Lightning Swift with this build. I would actually rely on Super Snowball, just because we're going to be relying on one major damage boost in order to take advantage of it and be able to take out the enemies as quickly as possible using Mach Rush. Mach Rush is also a very, very large fan of Prepare to Die, because let's say you do Mach Rush, and they go below 50% or less HP as you do Mach Rush, it will effectively boost this ultimate and allow you to absolutely decimate the enemies with the final Aftershock or with the end of Mach Rush. So that's why we're going to be going for Super Snowball and to Prepare to Die. This is going to boost your Mach Rush, allowing you to do the most amount of damage as quickly as possible. Now, for the final card, I think it's really up to you guys the way you want to play this out, because you could either play Limit Breaking Jump to be as playmaker as possible, either jump in front of your enemies, behind your enemies, around your enemies. This is a great way to take advantage of that. I also recommended this with my Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta build, but if you guys do struggle with defense and you really want to just worry about those ultimate attacks and not dying, then of course defensive step is going to cut all that ultimate attack damage, all that major attack damage out of the way as quickly as possible for 3 seconds. And with the right jump, you could really survive a lot of attacks like Spirit Bomb and stuff like that. But of course, if you think you're more, if you think you're going to be able to jump out of the way more effectively, then of course I would rely on a limit breaking jump in that regard. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell down below, all that fun stuff. Thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy and peace out.